Welcome, friends, and happy Mother's Day. I'm so glad that you joined us today. We've got some really great things planned for you. If this is your first time with us or your 500th time hanging out with us, I want to tell you about an opportunity to let us know you are here. We have a QR code coming up over here, and you can scan it with your mobile device and just fill out any information you're willing to let us have and possibly a prayer request, because we'd love to pray for you this week. And then if this is your first time ever to be with us online, would you let us know that by scanning that QR code and filling out some more information so we can mail you a very special gift. We're so glad that you joined us. Also, I want to let you know if you're struggling today, maybe this is a hard day for you, or you're just going through a lot of things and you have concern, there are people waiting to talk to you right now at our care center, and you can call right now the number that you see on the screen, and someone will listen to what's going on in your life and pray with you right there over the phone. So call that number if you need to talk to someone. So I hope you'll stay with us for the whole service, because at the end I'm going to tell you something really exciting, that we have a special opportunity for you to experiencing something as a mother today with your family. So stick around and I'll be back later to tell you all about it.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands.
He's got everybody watching in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Yeah.
Well, today we get to go out and have some fun, and we're going to go find some moms that we've been in their life for a little while. We've been just watching them and seeing what's going on in their life, and they're just struggling. But they're good ladies, and they're strong, and they're trying to raise their kids and do the right thing, and they're trying to do it alone. And so we want to go, and we want to try to love on them a little bit today, and then we want to bring them a gift. And so I just wanted to say thank you all so much for your generosity, because today what you're going to see is happening because of your generosity. The only reason we get to do this is because together we've all given to help people, and this is what it's about. It's about helping people when they hurt, and it's what we're all about. And so I'm really excited to get out and do this today, and just wanted to say thanks to you for all of your help and your generosity to let this happen. So we're gonna go have a good time, so let's go. All right, well, we're at our first stop. This is an amazing story. I can't wait for you guys to hear all that it's about, so let's head that way. What a great thing. They know we're here. Hello? Videoing me. I like playing with these little ring things.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, nice to see you. Hey, we want to drop by and just tell you that we just love what you've been doing. Thanks so much for every time we've called you and needed something, you would run and do it, right? So, but also know you lost your job. You've been without a job, and then you took some kids in, and you're taking care of kids too. And so we know that's a big joy, right? And so we just want to come by and say thanks. We want to say Happy Mother's Day. We think you're doing a great job, and we want to bring you a little bit of money to try to just say it's not a whole lot, but it's a whole lot to maybe help you go further. So that's from your church family to maybe help you keep going.
Well, thank
Okay?
you.
Yes, I hope
Can I
you're
give you a COVID hug?
we don't get many hugs nowadays.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We just wanted you to know we love you and we're really proud of you. And you're a great mom.
Well, thank you very much.
So we're at our second stop, and you know, every story is a little bit different. Everybody's kind of got their issues or their circumstances that they're having to deal with or that have been handed to them. And this is one we've been following for a while. And I tell you what, it's just so cool to be able to bring a little joy into somebody's life. So thanks for giving so we get to do this. So let's head on. Let's go knock on this next door. Hello. I can see you. It's us. Hi, buddy. Hi. I just want you to know we're all really proud of you. You're a very strong person. And you may not always feel that all the time, but that's what we can see. You're just a really strong person. So we wanted to bring you a little bit of money and just tell you, well, this is the people of RockPointe doing this. And so it's just our opportunity to be able to say we love you, and I hope that helps you keep moving forward a little bit. And just know that we're with you, and we love you, and you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Raising kids can be so hard. It can be such a struggle. And one of the things I have learned that when I am feeling alone in my struggle, it leads to a lot of fear and a lot of anger and a lot of self-doubt. But when I surround myself with a group of women that I can have an authentic conversation with, I just don't feel quite so alone. So today, we have invited a group of women to talk about some struggles of motherhood. And we hope that in this authentic talk, that anyone out there that's listening that might be struggling or might feel alone, that you'll feel just a little bit more confident and a little bit more brave as you conquer your day. So today we have Jessica, Maria, Amanda, and Christina. So we're gonna jump right in, and I'm gonna just throw out one of the first questions listen, we're going straight in. Okay, like we're not talking about the easy stuff of, changing diapers and stuff. We're going in. So, tell me about a time when you felt like you were not the mom that your child needed.
My husband and I have a transgender son. Matthew told me first. He had already let it out to his sister, but it was a big secret. And when he told me, I didn't have the answers. I really did not know what to say, but it was my child. I loved him when he was born. I loved him as a little boy, and I'll love him as a man. But when he told me he felt like a boy and he was a transgender son, I looked to God for answers, and I truly wanted to tell him, okay, it's going to be fine. We're going to do this. This is what's going to happen. But I had no idea.
Well, I cannot imagine that, that's not in any parenting book. I mean, that's not like in the what to expect when you're expecting. I mean, none of that is in there. I cannot even imagine in some of your hardest times, that had to catch you really by surprise.
It did, but it didn't scare me. Actually, I was a little relieved. I don't know why, but I was. I knew that we could get through it, and somehow I knew the support that we needed was going to be there, and it has been.
Wow.
I love that you shared that. It's really cool. And it's important for me to hear things like that too, because my kids are younger, and you just don't know what parenting is going to look like when they're older. But mine, I was super excited to be a stay-at-home mom, and then it hits you in the face, and all you do is see these littles all day long who you love fiercely and with all of your being, but I feel like there's a tension there of I love them so much, but I need other human interaction. And I remember that being really hard, and I didn't feel like I was doing a good job staying home with them and almost failing them because I needed breaks and time with friends. And that was a process getting used to. But then as they got older, I started working outside of the home, and that has been an even bigger slap in the face of feeling that tension even more of loving who I'm becoming in my job while also still trying to be a mom. And so often I feel inadequate, that I'm failing somebody, whether it be my kids or my boss or a customer or whatever. It's a daily struggle. I don't think I'm through that yet of feeling that tension.
Yeah. I know for sure we are our worst critic. We're harder on ourselves as moms than anyone else. I know that's hard.
Yeah, for me, I think my youngest is adopted, and so there's days where his struggles like really clash with my struggle. And so I think those are the times where I'm like, was I even supposed to be? Like, is this really how it was supposed to be? Like, there's days where there's the yelling and the screaming, and I yell and scream back, and it's like, am I doing a better job than his first mom could do? You know, like those are the times where I really question, am I doing this the right way? And those are the struggles that I tend to struggle with my youngest, for sure.
Right.
I don't have anything complicated in my home.
No.
Nothing.
Like that all the time. Oh God, how did I get here? How am I mean, I remember when my kids were little, putting them to sleep, and they would scream like I was murdering them every single time, and I was like, how did I do this yesterday?
Yes.
What worked
They
yesterday?
already forgot.
Exactly, and I still feel like that now. Like when they come to me with they're all teens now, and I'm like, I don't know, but I know that you'll figure it out.
Yes.
Like I just don't know, and
Yes.
I don't even have a complicated life. Just like it's still bigger than me.
Maria runs a clean ship. I mean, there's no joke. Her family, this, and it's done. So kudos to you.
So it sounded a little bit like what each one of you kind of talked about was, it's when it gets hard. So when things are hard, that's when we start to kind of question, like, am I supposed to be a stay-at-home mom? How am I supposed to respond to this? Am I the right mom? And so in those moments when it's hard, how do you feel in that moment?
I feel like a failure. I think I just recently talked to my counselor about that. I think when I go into that mode of like lashing back at any of them, but especially the youngest, like the yelling, and when I go to bed at night, she was like, well, what are you thinking about when you go to bed? And I'm like, how I screwed this up, how I screwed up this up, how I should have done this. And so I think that's the strongest feeling that I get, is that I failed. You know, the biggest thing that I wanted so badly was to not. I grew up with a lot of yelling, and so my biggest, growing up, I am never gonna yell at my kids. And that's the first thing that I go to, and so I'm failing at that. Like my biggest wish as being a mom was not to yell and scream.
Right.
But it happens, so failure.
So I think it's always hard, like, because there's another person there that you cannot control. No matter what size that person is, you can't get in their head and make them say or do, and you can't even always control yourself.
Yes.
So sometimes it's helped me to sort of look at my kid as, like, stretch him out as an adult. Like, if I had an adult who had that kind of attitude and they were my peer, how would I feel about them? I still wouldn't like them, you know? Yeah. Just learning to, like, I think as a parent, we have a lot of expectations that we're going to be super great at this and that it's all on us to make it all work. But it's just like any other relationship that goes up and down, and you have to learn how to make yourself fit with this unmovable thing, because you can't contour them out to fit you.
Right.
I feel very guilty when I take a nap. And when I get up from that nap, I feel like a failure. What I missed. Dad started dinner or did dishes. I feel like that was my job. So yes, I'm admitting I like my naps, but it makes me feel guilty.
That's good.
I think that they try to prepare you to be a mom, but then when you are a mom, you almost forget you're a human who's going to make mistakes, and you think, I'm the only person in this world that is on their side, that loves them as much as I do. And so when I like lose it on them, or lose my patience, or roll my eyes at them, you feel guilty because you think, I'm the one that's not supposed to fail them.
Yeah.
But that's just not true. We are human beings. And so I feel all of those things, but I forget that I'm human, and their mom's gonna mess up, and they can experience my mess ups.
Sure. So we've talked a lot about, feeling like a failure and not being enough, and not feeling like you are the kind of mom that God, has called you to be. And we're going to take just a few minutes of a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the flip side of that, how God came through for you, and what makes you know that you are the exact mom that those kids need.
You are here, you're moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, you're working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. Let's sing that again. You are here, you're moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You work in this place. You are here, you're working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. Sing Waymaker. You are here, you're moving every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, you're healing every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You turn lives. You are here, you turning lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You're mending every heart. Say, you are here, you're mending every heart. I worship you, yeah, I worship you. Sing Waymaker, hey, Waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, Waymaker, miracle work, promise keep, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you, that is who you say, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Hey. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working.
Hey everyone, I'm John Evans and I have the privilege of leading kids and students here at RockPointe. COVID-19 has been absolutely devastating to our world, and it has been felt on every level in our lives. And to be honest, it's not hard to find reasons to be down and out. However, in the midst of uncertain times, there are reasons to celebrate. Against the backdrop of job loss, sickness, and anxiety, there are good things happening right now. Today's In the Know video is going to be a little different. We want to celebrate the good things that are happening in our church since this all began. Our services have gone viral, and the impact of that has been simply mind-blowing. On average, over 4,000 people view our weekly services, and that's not including our weekly kids programs, live streams, and Wednesday night takeover live services. It's not about the likes, clicks, comments, it's about hope. Each and every week, we have been able to deliver music and messages of hope to people more than ever before. As of the end of April, over 750 families have been helped through the mobile food pantry. That's over 2,000 people who are able to have food in need. 60 volunteers, 7,500 eggs, and 300 rolls of toilet paper have been distributed. That's a lot of chickens and toilet paper, kids. Since the beginning of going virtual, we have saved the lives of 2,160 donuts. To all the dentists and doctors watching out there, you're welcome. Are we tired of doing Zoom meetings?
Yeah.
Over 30 small groups have continued to meet virtually. So many of you have worked so hard to stay connected with the church family, and for that, I tip my hat to you. At last count, over 4,000 people are following our Help Don't Hoard pages that are sponsored by our church. Now, to get an accurate count of just how many needs have been met, it would take over 1,000 volunteers over several weeks to... Okay, I'm just making this up, but the truth is over 1,000 needs have been met through our pages. Now, isn't that just downright amazing? When news broke that COVID-19 was becoming a pandemic, we began to organize a phone call team. Over the course of the last 2 months, a team of 35 people have spent time calling each family in our church. Through this group of amazing volunteers of our church has felt, seen, heard, and been connected. That's a group of real-life heroes. And to our phone call team, thank you. It's a weird time to ask people to give money to the church. With so much job losses and added financial pressure, we realize how much faith it takes to continue to donate money through the church. And yet, each week, we continue to shake our heads in amazement. 23 first-time givers, multiple weeks of offerings above our normal operations budget, and over a 100% increase to the Families in Crisis Fund. To be honest, many churches around the nation are having to scale back ministry due to financial hardships. What's happening doesn't make sense, and it can only be attributed to having a generous church. So to the givers, the helpers, and the need meters, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you think there's a lot to celebrate, you're right. But there's more, and we'll be back next week to share more good news. As we say every week, for you, your family, our church, and our community, the best is yet to come.
All right, well, here we are at our next stop, and you know, this one's kind of close because this lady lost her husband not long ago, and it's a tough situation. Now she's going on by herself and grandkids and kids around her, but still just you know, not able to work right now, and this is a tough thing. So Mother's Day is not always a fun thing when you've lost somebody you love, and I think this is a really great place for us to go and show a little generosity. So let's go that way. Well, hello. How are you? Well, it's been a rough year for you. Yeah. How you doing coming up to Mother's Day? Yeah. Maybe your eyes are telling me something a little different than that. So I know it's going to be your first Mother's Day, you know, without him, and I know that can't feel good. And so we want to come by and just tell you, hey, we're proud of you, and we know you're a strong lady, and you're going to make it. We wanted to bring you a little money from the people of the church, just to tell you that we love you, and you know, it's not going to make you rich, but it's maybe just help a little bit to keep you moving. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We love you and want you to know that we love you. You're a sweet lady and you're a strong lady, and so keep going. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, here we are at another stop, and this lady is, she's been working, but her hours has been cut back as we've gone through this last couple of months. She's been having car problems. She's been laid off and found another job. She has no family here, and she's just doing her best to try to keep things together. And I think that's kind of the whole idea. There's a lot of ladies out there just doing everything they can to kind of keep things moving forward, and this is definitely one of them. And so again, just want to say thanks for how generous you have been to let us come out today and be able to just bless some other people like this. And so I think it's going to be a huge help here. So let's head that way.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
So tell me about what happened. You were working, but what's happening with your work?
We got cut, so we're down to 3 days a week. So it's been, and then Augie was sick for 2 weeks before that, so I lost 2 weeks of work. So,
Wow.
so yeah.
Yeah, that's been a lot.
Yeah,
Huh?
and I just got an eviction notice.
Wow.
So it'll be all right.
Well, you are strong. We know that.
Yeah.
Right? You've been through a lot. And,
Yep.
But to be here, without any family and all that kind of stuff, just kind of a hard thing sometimes.
It is. It is.
So we just wanted you to know we're here, and
Oh, thank you.
we'll come by and tell you we're proud of you. So
Thank you.
So keep going. I know
You're
this
gonna
is.
make me cry.
It's not easy. What you're doing is not easy. This is a hard job. I mean, being a mom as is a hard job.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to try to help you a little bit, so we brought you a little bit of money.
No.
We know you've been helping a lot of people. And look, I don't think it's going to change your life forever, but I think it's going to help you get through. And so this is just from people of RockPointe Church.
Thank you so much.
We want to say, and I know we want to hug each other right
I know.
now, and we just can't.
Thank you so much.
But we just want you to know we love you and we're with you.
Thank you.
And we're proud of you. Don't quit.
I'm
Don't
not
quit.
ever.
All right? You got a lot of reasons
Yes,
to keep
I
going.
do. Yes, I do. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
You're welcome.
I've been blinded by insecurity. All
Okay, so we spent a few minutes talking about, kind of what the idea of the struggles in motherhood and how we don't feel like we're enough and how we often feel like failures. And so many times we even doubt that we are the mom that our kids need. But on the flip side of that, motherhood is a very sweet thing. And I can speak for myself, and I think I can speak for you women on stage, that it is also one of the most beautiful, powerful, the best things that has ever happened to you. And so with that, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about, those times when you know that you're enough, and those times when, that God tells you you're not a failure, and those times when God says, I gave you those kids because I knew that you had everything that it took. So who wants to start with that?
For me, speaking of little man, there's times when like in those moments where we've had a yelling and screaming match, or he just can say some really ugly things. And I'll come to him and I'll be telling him, like, I love you even when you make bad choices. Like, I'm always gonna love you no matter what, always. And he'll tell me, I love you too when you yell and scream at me or when you make bad choices. And so those are the moments where I'm like, thank you, because I wasn't sure. Those are the times that make all the ugly times worth it, because you know, like, that's what's in his little heart is like, I still love you, even when you make those bad choices.
Well, that's when you were talking about how when you go to bed at night, you feel like a failure. And I'm thinking, what is he?
Right.
What is he feeling?
Right.
He's not thinking you're a failure. Right. He's thinking you're the best mom he's ever had.
Yeah, he does say that too sometimes.
Yeah, see?
One of their struggles with all three children, but one of them in particular, we're so much alike, and so we're the ones that butt heads the most, and he's the one that I lose it the most on, and I just go to bed feeling like I should have done this and I should have done this better, and I'm an adult and he's 6 and like he doesn't know. But he is my physical touch kid, and so he will come and give me the biggest hugs or sit on my lap still, and he's 6, and just anytime any of my boys, because I have all boys, will come and just snuggle or hang out with me because I'm no longer the parent they want to hang out with. Like, they just can make me feel so loved, and I love that.
I like the way your eyes sparkle when you talk about that. For me, being a failure, I suffer from Parkinson's, and at a very young age, 6 months ago, I had brain surgery, and just remembering, with Parkinson's, it hurts. Physically, it hurts. Telling my kids, I can't do that. I can't walk that far. I can't go that fast. Things that I was not getting to do with them or my husband because I was hurting. It made me feel like a failure, but the night before I had brain surgery, I'm like, hey guys, I'm having brain surgery, and it'll be all right. I'll be okay. But honestly, within the last 2 weeks, I'm like, I had brain surgery, and they call me the bionic mom. I have a battery pack. I have to recharge it. Mom, what's that beeping noise? Oh, I need to recharge. My husband has a remote control, and it's so sweet because he keeps them on his bathroom countertop all set up, ready to go and recharge. But being a failure, I'm still God's child. And God loves me just like we love our children. And I really do think we're supposed to make mistakes, because how else are we going to learn?
Yeah.
And if you have the support, the friends, the family, the church, to support whatever you are and whatever you do, I feel like there's no perfect mom, and there's not ever going to be, and you're not a failure.
Yeah.
One of the things that always makes me feel happy when I think about my kids is just looking at them. When I see them laughing and happy, and when I see that they've grown up to be witty, fun teenagers, I'm like, we didn't ruin them. They're going to be okay. We didn't break break them. Yay.
I love that. That's one thing. I have an adult child, and that is exactly when I see I have two of them. I'm like, we did it. They made it. They're adults. They're productive. It is. It's like a whole different like relief, and and being able to look back and see all those moments where we felt like we maybe didn't handle something the right way, or we had failed them, or that we weren't enough. And you look back and you think all of that made them who they are today. And it is very, very like comforting, So, as moms, we are we get tired, but we're very strong. And as moms, we make a lot of mistakes, but we're forgiven. And even in our struggle, there is support. And I'm really big on having a group of people and having connection, having people that you can share your life with. But for somebody out there that's listening that may be walking in some struggle right now, what advice would you give them? What encouragement would you give them?
For your kids, I would say my biggest thing is I say you're sorry. No matter, however, before the day ends, say you're sorry. That's something that I started a long time ago because, yes, I do the things that I hate, that I always hated being done to me as a kid, with maybe losing it or yelling. But saying I'm sorry is so powerful.
Yes, that's good.
For my heart, and I feel like for theirs. It's seeing that, mommy's broken, mommy messes up, mommy screws up a lot, but she also always, I want them to be able to say that one day, maybe to their counselor, that she did say she was sorry at least.
Yeah. And it's not only, I like that you say, I'm sorry. I teach my kids, and they hear me even say it, oh, Lord, please forgive me, or whatever. It's, I'm sorry to you. Do you forgive me? Yeah. And if they hear that from you and their father or whoever, adults doing that, if God forgives you, you have to ask for it. You have to ask for forgiveness. And I think that's very important as they grow up.
Yeah, for sure. I love the advice about saying sorry. And the other one I would say is what Adina just said, is find a community of women who, not just your age and not just people who have kids your kids' ages, but find women that are real and authentic and can call you and you can say, like, I've had a crappy day, or I'm yelling at my kid, and not feel shame around that, and where they can just build you up from there and empower you, because we are tired. And during a workout, you don't want to hear, you're tired. You want to hear, like, you're strong and you've got this, even though you're tired. And so find those people that will empower you through motherhood.
Yes. I definitely agree that having a support team is huge. I think another thing is just knowing that we're a bridge for our kids to God. And one of the biggest things he uses is not our theology, but our everyday just struggling along, limping along, learning to be like him. That example, I think, teaches them so much more. And for me, now that my kids are older and I control so very little in their lives, I'm learning to leave a lot up to the Holy Spirit. Just trusting that God loves those kids and is more invested in them every single day than I ever can be. And just finding a lot of assurance and strength in that, because that is the one thing that's never going to change. It's teaching them to know that God is big enough for whatever they're facing, even their mom's scary days.
Yes. Well, I want to say thank you guys for coming on and talking just a little bit about your struggles and the good things about motherhood. And I also want to say, I want to close this just kind of the way that we opened it, in that we know that when you feel fear, when you're going through something, a struggle, that's when you start to feel stress and anxiety, when you feel like you're all alone. But when you feel like you have a community of people, when you feel like there's other people out there that have walked down that road, it makes you feel confident and brave, and just not so alone. And so as we close, I want you guys to know that you have that, and that you can be that for somebody else. And whether you are a part of a group already or not, join one, and just continue to invest in people in that way. So for everybody else, let's just say Happy Mother's Day from the panel. And
Happy
Mother's Day.
Well, happy Mother's Day, ladies. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative that you would give us just a few minutes of your special day. Thank you for that. You know, the past 2 months has literally brought to surface in all of our lives really who we are. And I think that there's no place that that's been more true than in our homes. And what we've been observing of you is a group of people who are resilient and persistent and tough and overall as strong as a mother. And some of you as moms, as I've talked to you, you've told me, you know, I don't feel strong. But let me tell you what we've been seeing. We've seen moms changing the world one kid at a time. Moms, you are strong even on the days that you don't feel strong. When I was a teenager, we had this thing in our house, which is, it's maybe sounds like a strange thing today, but what we had in this house was this thing called a home phone. And I understand that some of you don't even understand the words coming out of my mouth when I say that, but the truth is we had this thing and it was a phone that was in our home, and there was one of them, and it was called the home phone. And we loved to answer the phone back in those days. It would ring and we would all race to try to get there and to see who could get there first, because we wanted to see who was on there, because that was the only way you could figure out who had called you. And so what would happen often is my mom would have somebody who would say, hey, I'm going to call you at 3 p.m. And so when the phone would ring about 3 p.m., my mom would say, I got it, it's for me. But my brothers and I wanted to know who was on the phone, so we would chase to see who could get to the phone first. And oftentimes we found ourselves blocking our mom, trying to keep her from the phone, even sometimes hanging on to her, so until the point that she was yelling and we were laughing, which was kind of the win in that for us. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you that. However, once my dad came home, my mom was laughing and we were the ones who were actually yelling. And moms, look, you've got to be strong to put up with stuff like that. One time my mom had been gone all day and she came home and she couldn't find my younger brother anywhere. And she went looking for him and couldn't find him. And let me tell you why she couldn't find him. Because my older brother and I had literally crucified him by tying his hands and feet to a giant cross and leaning it up against the back of the house and just leaving him there. Again, didn't go so well once my dad got home. It just takes enormous strength to be a mom and to deal with those kinds of things. And moms, you are passing something along that's amazing. There's a great verse in the New Testament from 1 Timothy that talks about this. And as we read the verse, I want you to listen where the Apostle Paul writes this to this young man named Timothy and talks about his strength and his faith. And here's what I want you to notice. I want you to notice where that strength comes from. So from 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5, it says this, I'm reminded of your, look at this, strong faith. And where did you get that strong faith, Timothy? It was handed down from your grandmother Lois to your mother Eunice, and now to you. Moms, just like in this day, you are passing something on, even if you don't feel like you are. Your persistence is teaching something. And today, what I'd like to do for Mother's Day is I'd like to share a few of those things to try to encourage you to continue what we see you doing. And so, moms, from you, first of all, we learn the value of independence. Like, moms, we learn from you that we don't need someone to take care of us for the rest of our lives. We learn that we can live a full and happy life, and that we can raise kids, and that we can have a home, and that we can cook, and we can do dishes, and all while having a thriving and successful career. Moms, your strength is teaching your kids to be independent. And then, moms, from you, we learn the meaning of unconditional love. You know, we see you sacrifice your time, your health, your youth for your kids, for their siblings, For those grandkids, willing to give more and more of yourself. And moms, you are teaching kids what selfless and unconditional love actually looks like. And then moms, we learn from you that to never look back. In fact, we've learned from you that your strength shows us to let all those what ifs and what could have been, to just let them go. And we see that you keep looking forward and you keep pressing forward, and it shows us that everything that has happened up until this time gets you to where you belong, even if it's something you wished never would have happened. And then moms, we learn from you the importance of patience and the importance of faith. You teach others that God is looking out for us and our struggles, and that every storm is eventually going to pass, and that tomorrow will be a new day for us to wake up in and press forward again. Moms, you are teaching us that patience is strength. And then moms, we learn from you how to be strong. Moms, we're learning from you. You show us how to take care of a family, and you show us how to work hard, and when you work hard, how it pays off, and that you can love someone and love them unconditionally. Moms, you are leading by example, and whether you know it or not, we are following in your footsteps one step at a time. I mentioned Timothy as we began today, and young Timothy led the church forward. In fact, he led the church forward towards the 2nd century. And Timothy ended up giving his life as a martyr for that same faith that his grandmother and his mother had placed in him. And the church continued on because of their influence in his life. And so moms, look, don't give up the fight. Your work is not in vain. We're watching, your kids are watching, they're learning, and they're becoming like you, strong like their mother. And so moms, let me say it this way one more time. Moms, don't give up, because you are changing the world one kid at a time. Let me pray for our moms. Father, thank you for this wonderful, wonderful gift you gave us when you placed a mom in our life. And God, for some, that mother figure has been someone who has come into their life. For some, it's those who gave birth to us. For some, it's a grandmother. It's this person who has stepped into our life that has made this tremendous difference in our life that we're watching. And so God, today I pray for moms everywhere, that they would know the strength that they have, and that they would continue on, and when they feel like it's not making a difference, help them to know that they are world changers by what they do. Heavenly Father, please bless moms today on this very special Mother's Day. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
God sent his son. They called him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died life is worth the living just because he lives. And life is worth the living just because he lives.
And life is worth the living just because he
I love that song, Because He Lives. Many people over the years have sung that song, and it just reminds me that we have hope no matter what we're going through because Jesus lives. I want to tell you about what's available to you this afternoon. Starting at noon here at the Leander campus, you can come in your car and drive through with your family to a place where you'll receive a gift for each mom. The gift has a sweet treat, some special things just for mom, and an awesome t-shirt. And I would love for you to bring your family out, even if you want to bring your neighbors out. We have plenty of things for everyone for the first 500 cars. So invite your friends, bring your grandma, and come out and get a special treat from your church here at RockPointe. You'll be able to see Pastor Shane and several staff members. I think it'll be a lot of fun. You can also get your picture taken with your family. And we have 6 different photo ops for you, and they'll be sanitized and germ-free for you to take a family photo, just like we've always done at RockPointe. And next week, I want you to show up online and watch us with our new series called The Comeback. I'm really looking forward to it, and I know you won't want to miss it. See you next week.